I'm sure you guys have noticed that there was a report that came out the other day that mentioned how, or I say report, I use the term report very loosely because I don't believe this to be a report at all. It's from Sean O'Connell. Sean O'Connell, just going off of his Twitter bio, he is a Sirius XM host, PFL play-by-play announcer, washed-up fighter, aspiring author, traveler, wannabe, Renaissance man. Of course, when it comes to all of these reports, there are very few reliable sources outside of Woj, Shams, Chris Haynes, several beat reporters from the teams, guys who spend a significant amount, guys and gals, I should say, who spend a significant amount of time with a particular team. I don't believe Sean O'Connell to be this guy, and he tweets. He's very self-aware in this report. I know I'm not usually Utah Jazz breaking news guy, but a source close to the situation has informed me that Rudy Gobert is at a quote him or me point with Donovan Mitchell and will demand that one of them be traded in the next few days. Definite doesn't feel like they will win a championship together. He then follows this with a second tweet, doubling down on it. Rudy feels that his own numbers are consistent or getting better, while Don is defensive liability and is falling off in terms of explosiveness. Gobert also aware of at least one Western Conference power that would be willing to pay handsomely for his abilities, in parentheses, NBA teams never tamper. I don't know if Mr. O'Connell is trying to join the Onion and be their, main sports guy, because I don't believe this, because it doesn't make any sense. Why the would Rudy Gobert go to the Utah Jazz and be like,
It's either me or Donovan Mitchell.
everyone knows who it would be in that point? That's me going to Zendaya and being like, it's either me or Tom Holland. Bro, the Utah Jazz would not pick Rudy Gobert over Donovan Mitchell. Straight up. Straight up. You have a $200 million center who, at certain points in the playoffs, looks like a liability, is sometimes unplayable in the fourth quarter of games. What Rudy Gobert does have going for him, though, is his exceptional prowess on defense. However, the Utah Jazz are not going to win a championship because of just Rudy Gobert's mere existence. Him being a sentient being on the Utah Jazz is not limiting their championship capacity. It's the role in which he occupies as the number 2 guy on this team. You can't have a defensive-minded guy who gives you minimal production on offense be your number 2 franchise player. It doesn't happen. The NBA is still at least a 2-star sport. It's still, how do I say this? NBA teams still have to form super teams, whether it be with 2 stars or 3. Okay? You cannot have a single star team win a championship. It's not going to happen. For the next couple of years, that's not going to be the case. All of the contenders, just look at all of the contending teams. We'll look at Golden State, Steph, and Clay. Those are their 2 stars. You look at Phoenix, Devin Booker, Chris Paul. You look at Milwaukee, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. Even Boston with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is a guy who's giving you 20 a night on most evenings. He's giving you 20. The Utah Jazz are fundamentally not constructed to win titles in this NBA. Rudy Gobert is kind of correct in saying that Donovan Mitchell is a liability. I would not say that Mitchell is a liability on defense. Is he a premier defender? No, he's not the premier defender that I thought he was going to be coming out of Louisville. He's also way better on offense than I thought he would be coming out of Louisville. He's on the smaller side. He's listed at 6'1", might be closer to 6'2", but he has exceptional length and is an explosive athlete, which can take you a decent way on defense in the NBA. But he's also like an all-NBA caliber player as well. And Rudy Gobert is, but for different reasons, because Donovan Mitchell is still only getting better. He had the best season of his career this past year after looking like Kemba Walker almost, where these first couple of seasons there was only like marginal increase. I mean, over the last 2 years, he's taken his game to another level. Maybe not necessarily statistically, but every year his game just looks more and more polished, whether it be creating shots for himself, whether it be his shooting from the perimeter, whether it be his playmaking. Donovan Mitchell is constantly expanding his game to just take the Utah Jazz farther and farther. And all while that's happening, Rudy Gobert has yet to develop one go-to move in the post. This is why I think this story is bullshit, because I can't even call it a story. This is why I think this report is bullshit, because Rudy Gobert knows where his bread is buttered. He got 9 figures. He got multiple hundreds of millions of dollars to play defense for the Utah Jazz. He knows that he's an elite defender. He knows he's arguably the best defensive player of his generation. And he knows that he doesn't give anything on offense that is not contingent upon someone else supplying it to him. Like, even DeAndre Ayton has come a long way as a post scorer since coming into the league. Rudy Gobert has not. And if he were to become a reliable option in the post, that opens up so much more for Utah, because they have Bojan Bogdanovic, they have Jordan Clarkson, they had Joe Ingles, they have playmakers, and they have shooters on the perimeter. What? You're effectively losing Rudy Gobert every time down on offense if he's reliant on Mitchell giving him a lob around the basket, or, guys missing shots close and him cleaning up the offensive rebounds. If the Jazz were able to dunk the ball in to Rudy Gobert 5 or 6 times a game, and he were able to give them 10, 12 points in the post, do you know how radically different Utah would be? If that were the case, oh, motherfucker, god damn it, let's look at Rudy's numbers. Rudy Gobert, who's averaged 15 points a game essentially for the last 4 seasons, while maintaining these incredibly high shooting percentages, because so many of his shots are either assisted or coming off of offensive rebounds. 72.4% of his shots, of his made shots, are assisted. That is a preposterous amount for your number 2 guy. Even if he's giving you 10 more points in the paint, or 10 more points in the post, you're looking at a two-way center who is dominant on defense while also giving you 18 to 20 points on offense. And this isn't exactly foreign for a lot of the contending teams. I mean, look at Giannis. Obviously, Giannis and Gobert are in two totally different... They could not be more different from one another. But Giannis is at least showing us that you can be a dominant defensive player while putting up a considerable amount of production offensively. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, obviously, perimeter, different story. LeBron, different story. But there have been instances of guys being electrifying on both ends of the floor, and that has produced incredible results for their team. It doesn't make sense for this report to come out. And even Gobert was like, every day it's a new rumor. And typically, I hate when, I don't want to say I hate, but, athletes get sassy when they hear reports, and then these reports come out being true. Like Deebo Samuel did this. There were reports of him wanting to be traded from the 49ers, and then he came out with some snarky tweet, and then, lo and behold, he comes out that he wants to be traded from the 49ers. So I get, it's all about controlling the narrative, but, like, this is just so off base. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for this to even be a discussion, because Gobert would get laughed out of the meeting by everybody, by Quinn Snyder, by ownership, by the general manager, by Donovan Mitchell, because he knows that this isn't ever going to be a discussion. Rudy Gobert will be the first to be dealt when Utah decides to blow it up. And the only difference is if Donovan Mitchell requests a trade before he does. That will be the only factor that differentiates these two.